My generation's afraid of opinions. Y'all so intolerant. They're ashamed of themselves because they're privileged and white, or they're black and the opposite. You get charged with harassment for hugging a woman or giving a compliment. Y'all way too sensitive yet offended to death. Bring all the coffins.
Hi, welcome back. So today I'm going to be talking about something really weird that I found online, and that is there is a new insult for white people, the word colonizer. A quick Google search and a little help from Urban Dictionary alerted me to the fact that apparently this word comes from the movie Black Panther. You know, that awful movie about superheroes. I don't know, they were like cats or something. I didn't even watch it, but I've seen reviews and I hear it's awful.
Probably offended somebody.
So the arguments that I'm hearing about this are basically like, you know, screw white people, screw America. We took over this country and took it from the natives and did a bunch of bad things to the people who lived here. So screw America. We would be better off if America never existed. I am flabbergasted. Like, OMG, WTF, I can't even. So, first of all, let me shit all over your little rage fest against white people and let you know that white people are not the only people who colonize. Black people in Africa colonized over there, and more currently, Muslims are colonizing over in Europe. That's right. Somebody said this to me. To which I responded that basically everything that they listed is exactly what Muslims are doing over in Europe. And then, of course, this happened. But yeah, other than a little raging cry fest that they have going on right now, let's just discuss the fact that America has been amazing since its inception. Like, if we hadn't colonized America, then the Native Americans would have just let this place go to waste. It would have been all run over by trees and, you know, not kept up, and wild animals running loose. And it wouldn't have been industrialized at all, and you know, that all sounds great, except that this land is so rich with resources and it is such an amazing place to grow crops and do productive things that are good for society, that why would we not want that to be here? Not to mention, think of all the amazing things that Americans have accomplished since the inception of America. We've cured diseases, we have won wars for our allies, we have invented numerous things that would not have been invented if somebody hadn't been over here to invent them. Whether you believe it or not, we were the first people to go to the moon. I truly believe that we were the first people to go to the moon. And that would, I mean, it would have happened eventually. China would have gotten there or somebody else would have gotten there. But the amount of scientific discoveries that Americans have accomplished by doing that far outnumbers anything that anybody else would have accomplished. We have, like, probably the strongest military in the world, and that's why we go in and we save people when the wars are getting bad. Sometimes we need a catalyst to, you know, push us into war or something, but whenever America gets involved in the war ends. America is an empire, a superpower, sometimes the glue holding the world together.
America, 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 fuck yeah, coming again to save the most.
let's shit all over that and say that America would be better off if we had never left England and the Americas were just overrun, or the America that we know was just overrun by savages. Do you realize all of the things that Native Americans have accomplished because they have had Western influence? When we came over there, they didn't know how to grow crops, they didn't know anything about firearms, they didn't know anything about any sort of technological advances that we had of the time. They were really basic, using spears and arrows and stuff like that, living off the land. But we taught them how to grow crops, and we taught them how to advance themselves. And now you have Native American doctors and artists and, scientists, all sorts of things, even Native Americans in political office. Not Elizabeth Warren. And how about the blacks? Had they stayed in Africa and not come over here, they would have basically lived in a, shithole for all of their lives and never had any opportunities for advancement. And I'm not saying that it's good that we took the blacks over here as slaves, but I mean, even if we hadn't done that, they would have eventually migrated over here and gotten opportunities. See, that's the thing. So many countries come over here, send their people over here, because their people want opportunities that only we can give them. If America had never existed, then all of these people from all of these nations and all of these cultures would not have had the opportunities that they have today. You even have people migrating over here from places like Germany and Russia and Ireland and stuff like that, all the way back. My ancestors are German and Irish. They migrated over here, did the hanky-panky with each other, and boom, eventually I came along. But had America not existed and not had so much opportunity, they would have never gotten over here, and I would have never existed. Everywhere you see advancement, you see colonization, because people who were smarter and more technologically advanced came and colonized the places that were not technologically advanced and taught the natives about their culture and taught the natives how to get better and increased the knowledge and spread the wealth. Even in South Africa, you have the French coming over and colonizing South Africa, so that South Africa is not a complete shithole anymore. I mean, parts of it are in poverty and parts of it are in ruin, but there are parts of it that are very well off because the French came over and colonized. And how do they help and how do they thank these French people for coming over and colonizing and helping them out? They start being racist against them. But no, blame the white man, blame the person who is, more technologically advanced and smarter and stuff like that because they happen to be better at something than somebody else. And I'm not saying that it's totally fine and super that we came over here and, did bad stuff to the Indians. But I mean, they kind of did bad stuff to us too, and the history books explain that. And I mean, back then, people didn't know any better. People weren't as smart or as humanistic as they were now, so they really didn't understand anything except find land, take land. If it were today, and we would be colonizing America today, we would be totally nicer to the Indians. Still, that's no reason to, basically piss on America and say that America is bad just because you have feels for something that your great ancestors did. People that were thousands, well, not thousands, but hundreds and hundreds of years before your time even existed. No, maybe it was thousands, I don't know. The point is that you cannot be mad at your ancestors because you need to let go of the past. And you cannot have this guilt for being white or being smart or being successful, because that's just shitting all over your own race. If people of color or of different nationalities aren't as advanced as you, then you help them. But you don't sit there and wallow and feel bad because you're more accomplished than them. That doesn't do anybody any good. I mean, seriously, imagine a world without white people. Imagine a world where people didn't colonize things. Imagine a world where everything was just left to its own devices and people didn't mix and people didn't communicate and everybody just sort of stayed in their own little area and didn't branch out into other areas or try new things. As bad as you think that it is to go into another country and try to take over, think about the other cultures that are trying to take over in Western civilization to this day. They said in this comment section that Western or American colonization or white colonization, something of that nature, is an ongoing problem. The whites aren't the problem anymore. And to be honest, we have not been the problem in a long time. We have just been doing our own thing. And you feeling bad about a few people being racist or something that happened way in the past is not going to change the fact that there are racist scumbags out there. And it's not going to change the fact that, racist things did happen in the past. You feeling bad when you did nothing wrong just makes you look like a weak, pitiful person. There's one thing about that John Lennon song that really, really irks me, that song Imagine, that really irks me. It's saying imagine all this stuff, like imagine there's no religion, imagine there's no country, imagine that everybody is just sharing everything. Well, if there was none of the stuff that he lists in that song, then people would still find a reason to fight. And people would still find a reason to be selfish. Because nowhere in that song, anywhere, does it ever say, imagine that everybody is selfless and imagine that there is no selfishness or no greed or no lust or no any of the bad things out there. Like, he literally imagines this perfect world where everybody just gets along because we take away all the things that cause us conflict. But when you take away the things that cause conflict, people will find other things to cause conflict with. And that is exactly what is going on right now. Where there is no racism, people dig up racism from the past. Where there is no religious conflict, people create religious conflict. When there is no conflict of the mind or personal interests, people decide to bring up and make up differences of opinions, to the point that if a Republican candidate says one thing, then everybody automatically says the other thing on the left, and that's when it gets pretty ridiculous. But I digress. But not really, because it all ties back into the same point, is that people feeling guilty about certain things that their ancestors did, and people trying to make up a brand new word, a brand new insult to attack white people. The truth of the matter is that that word has no bearing on reality. It's not going to insult me. It's not going to insult my friends. It's not going to insult anybody that I know, because we are all strong-willed, sound-minded people who understand that words are just words. Just like the N-word wouldn't affect one of my black friends because they understand that words are just words. But there are a lot of people out there that the N-word would affect and would make upset. And that is the problem in society, is we give too much power to words. They are words, things that we speak. Honestly, did your mother ever teach you the phrase, "Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me"? Because I think that we're really raising a generation of kids that were never told that and never taught that. And in the end, I think that it's really sad that there's people out there who do need to get offended by everything, or feel that they need to get offended by everything, because they're missing out on a huge part of life. And no, I don't hate Muslims, I don't hate blacks, I don't hate anybody of any other race or religion or skin color or anything like that. I actually kind of feel like everybody needs to just forget about their race and just focus on what we are as human beings and not what divides us. We need to focus on what brings us together. I guess I'm sort of an optimist in that sense, that I think that everybody can just like come together and just get along and be friends. If we just stop focusing on our race. But you know, that's never going to happen, and I'm just an idealist, and I'm just going to continue thinking that and wishing that and hoping it and never see any results from it. But it's okay, because ultimately I think that the world is going exactly how it's supposed to go for certain things to happen. I kind of believe that there's some sort of like master plan and that we don't really know what's going on, but there's some higher power that has a plan for us, and everything is going exactly according to plan, and we just gotta go with the flow, sort of. So let them cry, let them whine, let them bring up their stupid new words to insult white people, but understand that when everything goes to hell because you wouldn't quit poking the bear, you're going to feel sorry for it. You're going to feel a lot sorrier than you feel about your imagined guilt.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's all I got for right now. Like and subscribe for more content, and keep coming back.
Rappers doing downers, and you make them feel empowered till they're fertilizing soil, pushing flowers. Yeah, what the Lil Wayne, Rick Ross, and 2 Chainz all have in common? They make a living off gangster rap, but they all went to college. It's all just marketing strategy, so you empty your wallet, endorsing vodka to make a buck and make you alcoholics. They make you stupid with Xanax, they make you broke with designers. They use the music to confuse the youth and influence minors. Isn't it funny how these rappers went from fighting the power to buy a gun and sell some drugs in just a matter of hours, to turn the students to